Hello, this is Coach Rich Campy, my thinking coach, your thinking coach. Today's grid message: I am grateful for the opportunity to learn, and the intentional messages before, during, and after. Before, during, and after. This applies to discernment, wisdom, learning, growth, development. We can do all those things beforehand, right? We can learn before we get to the final exam. We could have discernment beforehand. We could plan beforehand, right? Before something happens and stay ahead of it. Or we can do it during, while it's happening. We can plan, have discernment, have wisdom during something, or we can look at things back in time, after. We can look back and have discernment or wisdom after the fact. And obviously we want, in most situations, we want to do things ahead of time, beforehand. We want to have that discernment, that wisdom, and plan ahead in things. But that's not typically how life works. Yet, hopefully, where we get to is that we are able to work on our lives, on our business, on our finances, on our relationships, on the back end, right? So after something happens, we actually learn from it so that in the future we can be ahead of it and plan in advance, right? But that's the big thing with learning, is that sometimes we never take that time. So I found in life we just repeat the same lessons over and over and over and over again until we actually get them, and then we can go to another level of challenges within our life or within our experience to get to that next place. Give you a great example is finances, right? So let's say that we keep running behind in debt, behind in debt, behind in debt, behind in debt, and we're sort of always chasing that on the back end, and we never get that lesson, right? We never get to the place of realizing, wow, hey, if I put a budget in place, or I put a forecast in place, or profit and loss statement, if I plan ahead, I won't be dealing with this on the back end or creating that stress for myself overall. So that's just one example. Relationships is another one. Business planning, our health, right? We could sort of, get to this place where we're not feeling healthy and we're sick all the time, and everyone says, oh, I get sick. And I'm not saying I've completely got this one figured out, but I just don't get sick. I mean, I can't even remember the last time I was sick, and people say, oh my gosh, you're so fortunate, you're so blessed. I am blessed, I am fortunate, but I work out and I eat really well 90% of the time, and it's like having fertile ground. I mean, if we put fertilizer and nourish the ground, it's gonna create good results. So really, getting ahead. And now I do that because I remember getting so deathly sick so many times. The pain got to be so intense that I was like, enough is enough. I have to create a change here, right? Every year I would exhaust myself and be in my wit's ends right about Thanksgiving time, where I would just be down for like weeks, and sometimes 2-3 weeks with sore throats and problems and all this stuff, because I just ran myself into the ground through drinking and eating and not working out and just abusing myself so bad that I couldn't take it anymore. So finally the pain was intense enough that I had to make a change. But isn't that true with so many things? Relationships and businesses and financial. So do we actually learn on the back end so that we can stay ahead on the front end? Does the pain get to be enough that we can really make that change and create a new habit, right, that does something more long-term that we want, and then create a better peace of mind, more relaxed, and better wisdom really overall when we can plan ahead? And I do not have this figured out. I am working on it daily, one day at a time. But in some areas of my life, I have made some adjustments that have worked really well. And I'm sure some of you have made some adjustments. So how do we get to a place where we learn and then we can stay ahead of it? This is Coach Rich Campy saying, how will I be the first believer? How will you be the first believer to adopt this principle of really spending the time to, look at something so we can stay ahead in the before as much as possible?